Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's your boy Gary Scott, aka the Solid People Assassin, and I'm back with another trade breakdown, EP12. All right, guys. It was a pretty wasn't a pretty solid week for us this week. Got to be fully transparent. It wasn't the best, Um, so this is what we had this week. I believe we sold silver, as you guys can see. That trade did end up turning out well. What happened is I called it. I realized that NFP was coming out, so I just told everybody, to get out like 20 pips on silver. It ended up going in a direction, but then you guys see how price move. It's started to move sideways. So we got out of that trade. But the reason I was looking to sell this though is because price created what we like to call a head and shoulders pattern here. All right, price broke that structure, price retest back to a structure level right here. All right, and then it dropped. So when I seen that drop, I realized that price did retest once more. What did it do? Price ended up breaking structure to the downside. It reached the area of value on a higher time frame. This right area right here is an order block on the daily time frame. But also, if you guys look here, it also ties in with 27.500, which is a whole level in the market. All right. So you got a lower high here, a lower high here, and then a lower low created. What is that telling you? Prices moving to the downside. So more times than not, you will want to look for buy. I mean, not buy, sell, sell areas to sell from. Like our area of value here, which was an order block. This is the last up candle before price broke structure to the downside. So that plays as a key factor to let you know that once price get here, it's potentially going to look to sell. All right, you got your lower high, and when lower highs are created, they're meant to go break lower lows. All right, in some cases, you know, price can do something completely different and come and take out that lower high, and then we can potentially look to buy from that particular point. Okay, but in this case, because it's created a lower high and it's a strong lower high on a 4-hour time frame, right? We would be wanting to look to go to the downside. All right, guys. Also, another thing is, if you guys aren't aware, there is a possibility, right? We've kind of already been into like a sort of a recession, but now that the market is kind of aiming towards the downside now, that recession is starting to become more and more prevalent, right? Things are going to start changing. So I want you guys to take heed of that because the market is already telling the story. All right. News is just now coming out to say it, but the market has been telling the story even before news dropped. So, you know, pay attention to the market, even if you don't, know fully what you're doing. Everybody can use their eyes and see which way something is moving. You know what I mean? And you can have a um pretty decent outlook of what's going to go on in the world or in the economy or in politics. All right. So just wanted to give you guys that. Once you go into another trade that we took, which was EA, I looked at this trade on the 1 hour time frame for the most part. After that though, but I did also look at it from the daily's perspective because this purple line here is a start of an order block. All right, you see this up candle here before it broke structure. All right, that's an area of value. So once price gets to those area of values, most of the time, but not all the time, price will respect those, right, and move to the downside swiftly, right? But in this case, it didn't, right? I looked at it from the daily's perspective, looking at that as an order block. Not only that, but I seen price close below the order block, which is letting me know that potential sellers are in the market. All right, but sometimes the order block gets broken. That's just the nature of the market. So now once we go down to the 4 hour time frame, right? I see how price continuously closed multiple times under the order block level, which made me want to take an entry to the downside. Price ended up working back against me. And I believe we lost about 50 pips on this trade. So, it went against us. I believe news came out, right? Drove price up. which is not out of the ordinary because it's still working in between an order block level, but price did come back and drop, but then it ended up taking off again. The reason why though I believe it did that is because price was respecting this order block that was here, as well as this fair value gap here. All right, price respected those two things as to why I believe price never initially went back below that point. It's because it respected this fair value gap and it also respected the order block right here. All right. So that's one of the trades that we did take a loss in. I was looking at when I entered it and I told everybody to enter it, we entered it off 4-hour time frame. Because price broke structure here. Price did retest to this order block and respected it. We got in around here. Price did go into profit just a little bit. Yeah, profit went in price went into profit just a little bit and then it turned against us. All right. And that was a perfect place to have your SL because this was the last lower high. And if it went past that point, it was meant to be. You know what I mean? Price ended up breaking that lower high, right? So that's why it's always good to have an SL on there near the last lower high that was created because then it'll let you know that price is, it's meaningful to go in the other direction. All right. It's meant to go in the other direction. So that, and then let's go to the other two trades that we also took this week. All right. Let's see. EURGBP. All right. EURGBP also was a good trade. I think this was a good trade that I did call, but the thing is, I had my SL a little bit too tight at like 20 pips. All right. I know I could have gave myself a little bit more distance as far as that goes. But I was noticing how price was respectfully selling below this point of structure in the market. It was selling off. Once price got above that this particular structure zone, it was buying. So once I seen like price close back above this structure zone, I took the buy. We took the buy. Price went into profit a little bit and then dropped down and hit our 20 pip SL. Right. I initially wanted to put my SL here below those lower lows, right? But I didn't, and it went against me, so that's just a way that you could potentially see. Let me see. Hold on. Put this back where I had the SL it. I had it at like 20 pips, right? All right, just about 20 pips. Hit our SL and then eventually went back and took out both our TPs, right? So that was just potentially just about like not placing my SL below structure like I should have. And also even timing. Because it ultimately my objective and my thought process as to why I took this trade for a buy and why everything I was looking at eventually ended up working in my favor. It was a matter of just the timing, my timing, and then um, just the timing. I would say it was really just the timing of this trade. Um, I knew that ultimately this trade was going to buy just based off of what the higher time frame structure was telling me. You see what I'm saying? Like if you look at it from the 4-hour time frame perspective, price broke this lower high, price created a higher high, price retested this order block down here. So when I bought it up here, I seen that once it closed above this structure point, I seen it as a potential good buy, right? But price just went against this. Like I said, I should have placed our SL below this last lower high right here, but um, you know, I did it and paid the price. But it's okay. I mean, overall, my analysis was correct. So, um, Analysis was correct. It was just a matter of the timing. Okay. And stuff like that happens. It's about fixing it, making it better. All right. Got that down. I'm going to move on to the last pair I believe we traded. We took about 4 trades this week, if I'm not mistaken. 1 second. All right. We took about 4 trades this week. One was a break even, and the other 3 were minimal losses. They weren't too big of losses, but you know, you learn from those, see what you can do better, see what you can fix, see what you can sharpen up, you know, move on to the next week. Trading is always going to be here. You know what I mean? You're not going to have a good week every week. That's just unrealistic. You know what I mean? So you have that. And I believe our last trade that we took was GU. That was one of the last ones that I called just this past week. Now, when I was looking at this, I seen on the daily time frame, structure was basically really telling us, right, that price wants to buy. Why? Because it broke a lower high, it broke a higher high back here, right? Price created a new higher high, price retest, right? We look for price to come to this order block. When I seen price reject off of this order block, we bought the trade. We were in profit about at least 40 something pips, 30 something pips, and then price just went, you know, back in the other direction. But structure is still telling you to, you know, potentially buy GBPUSD. But we have to realize what just happened here. We have to realize that price broke below, you know, an order block level. So we have to see how price is moving on a smaller time frame. What is price telling us on this smaller time frame? Right? There's a potential you can still see some type of buys in here, but also you have to be realistic to kind of understand, you know, what's going on in the market. Price just broke this higher low here, so we potentially look to, you know, be selling off. It's a possibility for that. You know what I mean? So we just kind of, with this, you kind of got to see how price is going to move going into this next week. But again, we bought this off of a rejection on the daily. Price went into profit, but it never went and topped our 50 pip take profit. I told everybody to get out early on this trade, so I told them to get out around like break even. So ultimately we didn't lose anything on this trade, but it did go and hit the SL. All right. With that being said, guys, those are all the trades that I took this week. I hope this video helps you guys. If you do have any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me. I'm always open to help. My email was pipass20@gmail.com, which is pipassassin20. My IG is Gary Scott Official. All right, guys. With that being said, you guys have a wonderful day. I see you next weekend. Peace.